Yeah, well, thanks very much for the introduction. It's great to be part of Shift Grants and presenting here. And yeah, I'm at a fairly new startup called Resonant Health, where we're using radio frequency to develop antiviral technology. And that has a range of potential applications, but for Shift, we're interested in how we can use that for wearable personal biodefense in future. So first of all, why do this at all? Well, when there was the COVID pandemic starting in 2020, we found that vaccines and drugs took quite a while to be developed. Took a year to get the first vaccine out and nearly 2 years for the first antiviral. And yeah, certainly far too slow to contain the pandemic. And even CEPI's ambitious goal of having vaccines available in 100 days after the outbreak of a new pandemic virus is still putting casualties and cumulative deaths in the hundreds of thousands. So we'd like something faster. Definitely the best time for it to be available is the first day of the next pandemic. And yeah, as an alternative to pharmaceuticals, there are non-medical interventions as well, like masking and social distancing, but we also saw that they weren't as effective as people hoped, and were generally actually kind of hard to implement. So our solution is radio frequency antivirals. Basically, we found by using quite low power and low frequency RF, this can actually inactivate viruses. So the low power means that it is a non-thermal effect. And by using low frequencies, it means it can penetrate the body so that you can actually inactivate viruses the site of infected tissue and really deliver treatment quite precisely where it's needed. So this opens up a range of applications. We could have devices to treat people who have symptoms and help them recover faster. You could also have infrastructure that's strategically installed to reduce viral transmission at sites like waiting rooms in healthcare facilities where virus might otherwise spread. Then there's also cases for biosecurity in agriculture. In this case, you could use it to both improve the health of production animals, reduce economic losses from outbreaks, and potentially also reduce the risks of zoonosis and the starting of human pandemics that spread from animals. And yeah, in this case, we're for the Shift grant interested in exploring what we can do with wearables that can actually provide a prophylaxis effect that could be combined with other countermeasures like masking to give you an extra layer of defense that can help you avoid getting sick if there's a future pandemic, and that can be actually made in a distributed way, made locally, so that lots of people can have access to this new technology. At the moment, we're at the in vitro stage, so still pretty early on in terms of biotech development. We've been testing on a range of different viruses. We've tested on 5 different human pathogens so far and found that we get good virus inactivation, so it has broad spectrum potential. And so far we've found it's most effective on respiratory viruses, influenza and coronavirus, and optimize those to have more than 90% effect. And there are a range of different parameters that you can tune with this, but basically the radio frequency that's used, the power and the exposure time. And on this chart in the middle, we've played with exposure time and power for a few viruses, and I basically find that within 30 minutes, we get a pretty high level of activation. And that's probably too slow if you're looking at stopping people getting infected in a crowded space and stopping virus moving between them. But if you're actually applying that to your sinuses, for instance, then that's plenty of time to actually inactivate virus that's entered your body, but before it's established an infection. And so that's where we think it has good prophylactic potential. And we've tested this on infected cell cultures and found that early application of RF leads to quite a large boost in cell viability, where otherwise cells would die from the virus infection. Applying later on, that's not as effective, which is perhaps unsurprising. But again, this points to towards a good use case for early application and prophylactic use. So with the Shift grant, what we really like to do is actually take this from our work in the lab with cells onto doing a pilot animal study. That's going to be supported with some other resources we have at Resonant. But yeah, we really want to demonstrate that applying RF to infected animals actually does give them a good therapeutic potential to either treat or stop infections. Now, after we've demonstrated that, we'd move on to actually doing some RF modeling, looking at how to, or where we'd place antennas on the body and how they would be designed in order to ensure that we get the right RF power at infected tissues to destroy the viruses there. And then, yeah, with that, we can then move on to wearable design. So we'd make this an open source wearable. We think that this has a lot of potential for, yeah, kind of decentralized community involvement. And one thing is we think that this would actually go better as a wellness device rather than a medical device, because yeah, basically with a wearable, it seems that it would be kind of hard to get that through the usual kind of FDA clearance process in order to show it has a, or prove it has a prophylactic potential. But you can still basically make and distribute the same device with different claims as yeah, promoting wellness essentially from avoiding infections, and that would be fine. So yeah, overall we see this as very aligned with DIAC goals. The RF is defense first. We find the effects are very specific to viruses. We're not exactly sure of the mechanisms yet, but so far we haven't found any influence on or damage to cells that we've treated. And yeah, being an open source project, that actually puts some potential for decentralized access, so that if there's a future pandemic, then yeah, there could be distributed manufacturing and people could tailor designs to their own local contexts and use cases. So a quick intro to the team that's doing this at Resonant Health. There's Justin Myers. Some of you may know him because he's been at Edge Cities before, I think. And I'm Gavin Taylor. I have a research background in biophysics and engineering. And then we have a preclinical virologist with us, Subhash Das, and he's doing lab virology to make sure that the devices we design actually do what we claim they will. And interestingly, Mike Johnson was also involved in some early discussions on this, so it's interesting to be presenting after him. Thank you, and yeah, happy to take some questions.